Had a good day today, good day yesterday. Looking forward to another good situational practice. Working on a lot of fundamentals and getting a lot of young guys, a lot of reps. So it's been good. We'll be off Friday and Saturday and back at it Sunday night, getting ready for Texas A&M, who's got a good team. So I'll open up for any questions.
We'll begin with Colin Taylor of Gamecock Central.
Hey, Will, I guess just now that you've kind of taken a deep breath from, the first 5 games, how would you evaluate your offensive line's play, and what are you guys doing over the bye week to maybe correct some of the protection issues you guys have had through the first 5?
Well, again, we've given up too many sacks. That's number one. But I don't know that we put everything on the offensive line. And you go back to the last ball game, we gave up on the first sack. The left tackle gave up, the left tackle gave up a pressure inside. It was a screen play. The running back gets jammed up, doesn't get out, but that was on the offensive line on the left side pressure. We had 2 routes that were run wrong in a receiver situation that has nothing to do with the offensive line, and then the quarterback holds the ball too long on 2 other sacks. We got to get rid of the football. We had plenty of time to throw the football. So, but I think that we've been solid as far as running the football. I think in protection standpoint, Tennessee game first half not very good. I think in the second half we did a much better job protecting the quarterback. I think we were solid against Florida and Vanderbilt. Going back to the Auburn game, I'm trying just to go through in my head, kind of where we were sack-wise. I think we allowed 1 sack in that ball game. So, again, I think that we've improved from our first 2 games, which I think Tennessee had 4 sacks, and I think Florida had 3 or 4. Colin, I'm not positive off the top of my head. And then obviously disappointed with some of the negative plays, but it wasn't all on the offensive line. But I think we've been really good in the run game as far as getting a hat on a hat, and I think there's some things we need to clean up protection-wise. I do think we have our best 5 guys playing now. I think it's just taken a little time to get to that point, but I do think our best 5 are on the field right now. I think we'll continue to improve as the year goes.
Next is David Cloninger, the Post and Courier.
Hey, Will, now that you've met with the senior leadership group, are there any restrictions for your out-of-state players on going home for the bye week?
No, there's no restriction. Our guys, most of our guys are going to stay in town. We're going to give them Friday and Saturday off unless they have treatment. But there's no guideline that they can't go home, and just to be in a reasonable drive, not a long drive. But they felt it was important to, if they wanted to go to Atlanta or go to Charlotte or whatever, we would allow them to do that. And I trust our guys. Our guys have handled the situation extremely well, and we continue to plan to do the same thing.
And what are your plans for the next couple of days? You going to go away with the family or anything like that?
No, we're working.
Thanks.
Next is Ben Breyer of the State Newspaper.
Hey, Will, I know you've mentioned the Leadership Council a couple of times. Who is actually on the Leadership Council, and how is that kind of assembled each season?
Well, it's all seniors, and then there's some select underclassmen that are a part of that we as a coaching staff recognize that have a voice on our football team, and that's who we kind of appoint to that. And it's a group that I meet with at least probably 2 times a week to kind of go through any issues we're having on our football team, anything we need to address, and then kind of our message each week as we go into a game.
I also want to ask, I know that you guys try to get some of the younger guys more work this week. How much more work have you been able to get for Luke and Ryan, and what have they been able to kind of show you in these 2 days?
Well, they've taken the majority of the reps at the quarterback position. I think both guys are making progress, and both guys are battling it out and doing it. And but I've been very pleased with both guys.
Next is Mitchell Forty of Rivals.com.
All right, well, I'm working on a story about the 2014 game between Missouri and Florida when you were the head coach at Florida, and Missouri came to Gainesville and won with 119 total yards of offense. I think had 4 touchdowns on defense and special teams. I was just curious what you remember from that game, and if you've been a part of a game before or since where a team was able to score so many points with such little offensive production.
No, I wouldn't think so. So, and we went in. I think we had 2 pick sixes. I think it was a punt return for a touchdown. But also set up 2 other scores, so it wasn't a very good night.
Next is Steve Molson at WZZN.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well today.
Great.
Good. Coach Saban recently was quoted as saying that good defense doesn't beat good offense in this day and age in college football. Would like to get a comment from you about that.
I'd agree with that. I think that I think probably maybe 5-7 years ago, you kind of start seeing, and I'm not saying that good players don't play defense. I'm not saying that, but I think more good players are playing on the offensive side of the ball, starting in grade school, middle school, high school. I think you see more guys. Shi Smith would be a great corner for us. Brian Edwards, Deebo Samuel, those all would be elite defensive backs if they played on defense. Just taking South Carolina, for instance. But I think the more really good players are playing on the offensive side of the ball, more players that may have seen basketball in their future are now playing football because of the spread offense, because of the attraction to have an opportunity to a really good athlete that's probably a pretty good basketball player but can be elite as a football player. And I think more skill guys are playing offense now as opposed to defense. I do think the rules have also, as far as the lineman downfield with some of the RPOs, I mean, some of the rules are certainly help the offense, and the tempo and different things when people being able to get more snaps. But I do think that more better athletes are playing on the offensive side of the ball, starting in Little League and starting in high school and middle school and high school age, and as they continue to move forward.
And Coach, if I could, I know you're focused on improving your team, but after game planning for LSU and Auburn in consecutive weeks the past 2 weeks, those 2 teams are facing off. What do you think about that matchup this weekend with LSU and Auburn?
Well, I think it would be a great game. I think that Auburn's big inside up front. The 2 linebackers are very instinctive. I think McCree's an elite corner in our league. He's covered extremely well. Both safeties are physical guys. In the run game for Auburn, they're really good players. I think Tank Bigsby's coming around. He's going to be a great player in our league. Bo Nix is a great competitor, a guy that creates some issues. You got Schwartz and Seth Williams on the outside for Auburn that are elite players, are guys you've got to deal with coverage-wise. LSU, I think, again, very athletic football team, recruited extremely well. Big on the offensive line. The young quarterback came in and did a nice job, but they got really good backs. I mean, all of the backs are elite guys coming out of high school that are really good players. They've got really good skill on the edges that create some issues for you coverage-wise. I think, both corners are elite, Ricks and Stingley on defense, and I think that they've got some young guys and some new faces that are continuing to improve as they've continued to get more snaps and log more snaps. So it ought to be a heck of a game there, but it ought to be a really good football game.
Thank you, Coach.
Rich, we have one more follow-up from Colin Taylor.
Yeah, well, I guess now that you're in the bye week and you're doing all these things after you've, I guess, quality controlled a little bit, just what are some things that for the last half of the season you want to see improve for you guys to do what you want to do over these last 5 games?
Well, I think overall improvement on the defensive side of the ball. I think early on we gave up more explosive passes than we have. And that was extremely disappointing. And I think the run defense the last couple of weeks has not been what we need it to be. So we've got to improve them on both levels as far as our run defense is concerned and our pass defense is concerned. continue to explore for more explosive players on offense. Shaw's been outstanding. Deshaun and Kevin have been really good. Nick Muse has been a very good tight end for us in our first 5 ball games. We need somebody else to emerge. Jalen Brooks, get some other guys involved offensively to give us some more opportunities to move the ball down the field. We're coming off a game that we needed to finish some drives, but you average 8 yards a play. That's pretty explosive offensively. So we've got to continue to find more guys offensively that can put us in position to score. And those are the 2 things. I think special teams, obviously, Parker probably will end up kicking off as we continue to move forward. We just need to be more consistent there as far as the placement of the ball and the depth and direction. And the hang time, obviously, is an issue. I think Kai continues to come on and punt well for us, and we'll continue to try and get an advantage on special teams.
Coach, thank you.
All righty.